Recorded live.
Welcome, everyone. It's so wonderful to have you with us on this day 5 of the 5-day Wayeb workshop. This is the final day. Today is February 21st on the Gregorian calendar, and it is a one wind day on the Mayan sacred calendar. One wind. In Mayan, that would be Hun, Ik. Hun is the number 1, and Ik is the word for wind. And I want to just kind of check in and remind people about what transpired yesterday. We had the well-known Mayan Ahi by the name of Don Carlos Barrios join us and share information with us about the Mayan New Year process and the Grand Wayeb that appears to be being invoked for this year's change in the New Year. So when we began our call and began our planning for this call, we were under the impression that this Wayeb, this 5-day period just before the Mayan New Year, would be a 5-day period. But Carlos explained to us that the elders are in council and they're talking about how the energies will need to shift this year so that we'll have a Grand Wayeb process that will last a total of 18 days rather than the typical 5 days. And this is all in about the second half of the call of episode 4. So you future listeners, if you want to tap into that information directly from Carlos Barrios, that would be really helpful. But essentially what he described is that for the past 300 to 400 or 500 years, the time that's known by the Maya as the 9 hells, has caused a disruption in the way that the Maya have been calculating the New Year process. And a lot of these traditions were completely repressed, and there was not a lot of communication among the various clans either. So typically and historically, in the ancient times, they would have a Grand Wayeb cycle every 52 years, which is known as the Grand Wayeb, and it's also known by the scientists, the anthropologists, and the archaeologists as a calendar round. So it's 52 cycles of the 360-day calendar. And I remember a number of scientists and also Ian Lungholt talking about what used to happen in the ancient times, where with the Grand Wayeb, or with the end of a 52-year cycle, they would extinguish all the fires in all of the lands for one day, and they would forgive all debts, they would forgive all crimes, and go into this contemplation mode about what needs to be created, and then restart and relight the fires. I don't know exactly when, if it was the following day, or maybe it was, I don't know if they could go 18 days without a fire. But I think it was just one day, and I'm not exactly sure what day that was in the cycle. But this is history. And Carlos sharing this with us yesterday was giving us an opportunity to become aware of something that, quite honestly, maybe a lot of the Maya in Guatemala aren't aware of yet. And I also may suggest that maybe some of the elders may not agree, because it takes some degree of consensus in order for this to happen. But it sounds like this is the drumbeat that's happening throughout Guatemala. And I'm just thrilled that our group has been able to become privy to this as part of our sacred fire that we've been holding for the last 5 days. And of course, the blessing that Carlos gave yesterday was just so heartfelt and so perfect. And for a lot of you, it may be the first time you've really heard the Mayan language, and it's very touching. It's a primordial language, so it's straight from creation to our hearts. So I hope that you folks have a grasp enough on this process now to feel the excitement and the enthusiasm for bringing in this new collection of year bearers. There are 5 groups of 4 in total that comprise all of the 20 Mayan day signs. And we're now shifting from the group that, according to my records, I've been looking at my Mayan cross tables. A number of them were published in Guatemala. One of them goes back to 1938. The other one goes back to 1900. And they were using the same set of year bearers that we've been using up until today. And that is the rotation between the wind, knowledge, deer, and road. So what Carlos is saying, that as of March 6th, which the day on the Mayan calendar is one eagle or one bird, we're going to be shifting to a new group of year bearers that will start with bird, and then in 2014 it would be serpent, in 2015 it would be sun, in 2016 it would be dog, and then in 2017 it would go back to bird, serpent, sun, dog, because each one of these year bearers carries the sun for 1 year, a period of 365 days, kind of like a relay team. They take turns, and according to Carlos, for a grand cycle of 52 years or one calendar round. So this has a huge significance, and I think we'll have to just go into observation mode to see how this feels like for us. And it occurred to me that maybe the shifting of the year bearers is tied to what's known in the Western world, the way we call it, the shift of the ages. And it makes perfect sense that the calendar and the year bearers would shift because the energies have shifted. So those are just some additional thoughts that I wanted to share with with everybody here. And then invoking the energy of wind today, which is one wind. And I'd like to do this collectively. I'd like to do this invocation together. So I will just say a few words about one wind, and then as we go into a quiet space, I'd like you to offer either on chat or through your voice, one by one, what your sense of this energy is today. So that will come from your heart. It will come from your intuitive higher self. So calling in the energies first, the presence of the first 4 grandparents. And that is the heart of the heavens, the east, the heart of the earth, the heart of the wind, the heart of the water, and the heart of the fire in the center. We ask you to be with us today to help cohere our sacred circle around the globe with like-hearted, like-minded people. And we asked the Nawal One Wind to contribute and be and guide with us today. And if you look at the glyph of wind, it's the one that's got the T shape in the center. And that T shape has been found in ancient habitats and sacred sites as far east as Turkey, as far as I know. It's all over the American Southwest and all through the Americas. And it was a window that was fashioned into the adobe walls of the buildings. And this particular shape allowed a very energy-efficient scoop, like a wind scoop. So even a slight breeze could come in inside the walls, but it would come in and lift up so that the fire that was in the center of the room and on the floor, on the ground, so that the fire would not go out, but the ventilation would be perfect. And this force is so vital. The Chinese call it qi. Japanese call it ki. In the Vedic tradition, it's known as prana. And the Maya call it nim kalahu. Kakulha. Nim kakulha. So we can feel it as we breathe in, wafting gently in through both of our nostrils, like that T-shape, and going up to our third eye and throughout our bodies, and relaxing when we exhale. So feeling that force. And if you wish to speak a word that comes immediately to you, that communicates your sense of this Nawal.
Swift uplifting.
Light. Beauty. Higher heart.
We have freedom, movement,
Peace.
Abundance.
Peace.
speed, opening.
Peace. P-E-A-C-E.
Mm-hmm. Cleansing. Guest 8 says connection. Guest 2 is expansion. Guest
Life.
29 is bird. I'm sorry?
Life.
Life. Life itself. Helping change.
With holy grace, may the divine wind of Ik blow everywhere it is needed. With healing, compassion, ease, we transition through the shift of the ages.
Thank you. Guest 5 says relief. guest 25, truth. And guest 15, community, with guest 31, movement forward. And Catherine, guest 32, I breathe in the universe, I breathe out the universe. Feeling that cosmic pulse within and all around. And this is the energy of communication, whether it be by thought, telepathic thought, word, voice, song, instruments, dance. A look, eye gazing another eye. So we thank you, Ahau, for the Noal Ik. This one day is the day of a new beginning. It always feels to me like it's the littlest number, but it feels to me like the energy of the Big Bang, the very beginning. So let's sit with what we've created here just for a moment or two. Really bask in this. And feeling connection to all of those on our home, our planet, that are also sitting next to their fires in this moment. And feeling connection to all of our brothers and sisters in the Maya lands who are using this time, the Wayeb, as we are. Going deep within, taking stock, reviewing the past year, connecting to all of those things that we've been gifted and that we're so grateful for. Refining our sense of what is most important to us. As we age and as life experiences transpire, And how do we change? What challenges do we face? Where did they come from? And how can we transform them into opportunities and gifts that we can add to our gratitude? And what can we as individuals commit to doing? What daily habits can we move into our life so that our dreams, our sense of fulfillment can be realized? How can we be our best every day? What does your balanced life look like? What does it include? What needs to be shifted or dismissed? And honoring yourself for your willingness, your courage, your depth in understanding how to live a sacred life. And becoming more and more clear over these next 13 days about our intentions, formulating them in words such as I am, I have, I do, and I feel. Using this language that implies, says that these things are already here. They're already happening. And for us, it's just a matter of stepping into that. and using the energy of Ik, one Ik. One Ik will help us communicate that. Either spoken or nonverbal. Our behaviors will shift. Hearts will open. And it's not just a belief, it's knowing, because we can feel it right now. So coming back to the breath, Ik within us. Let's take one more inhale to further brighten all that light shining within us. And feel the exhale radiating that light. You're welcome to sit comfortably, continuing to feel our creation this morning. We can take a few minutes for sharing, and then at the end, I think we have a couple of announcements and wrap-up to follow through with.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, it's Don. Can I say something?
Oh, completely, yes. The floor is yours.
I just wanted to say what you said at the beginning was so beautiful and so essential about forgiveness and debt, because those are heavy, lower vibration energies, and they truly keep us anchored to the past.
Mm-hmm.
So if we intend to create a new, beautiful, wonderful today and tomorrow, as long as we hold on to those things, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, it makes it extremely difficult, maybe impossible, to create what we want to create.
You know, Don, it's interesting that you bring that one up, because one of the Mayan sacred calendar day signs, we call it wisdom. That's how people in the English language typically refer to it. And it's the day after knowledge, is the wisdom day. But when you hear the elders talk about that particular Nawal, it's called Akmak, it's all about forgiveness. And that is really the final act that needs to be taken, whether it's you forgiving yourself or others, or you're asking for forgiveness. But to them, that's the highest degree of wisdom imaginable. So that goes right along with what you were saying about how essential it is. Would anyone else like to share any comments about our process? Any questions?
Hi there, it's Andrea.
Yes,
Morning. I'm just so grateful to be on this call. I just found out about it last night. And
welcome.
And I think that, the timing could not be better, obviously, and I'm just always so amazed to see how Spirit directs us to be at the right place at the right time. And I didn't even have to leave my house. I'm sitting in my kitchen and connecting with everyone and the elders and the people in the Mayan lands. And I'm definitely going to be celebrating New Year's Eve tonight.
Oh, great. Well, if it is actually New Year's, I think a lot of people in the Mayan lands will be celebrating New Year's, but then they'll have another opportunity on March 6th as well.
That's great.
So there is a question. How might we observe, honor the remaining 9 days of the Grand Wayeb? That's a really good question, and I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer. We probably could have asked Carlos that yesterday had we enough presence of mind. And I will be following up with him. I don't know when I'm going to catch up with him because there's so many Wayeb things that he is attending to. But when I do, I will communicate it probably on the Mayan Cross Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
That's the quickest place for me to go to do, it can be usually a brief post, but that's typically where I go with, the information that I get it as soon as I get it.
So it's called the Mayan Process Facebook page.
It's Mayan Cross.
Mayan Cross Facebook page. Okay.
And I also do a newsletter. I know Joseph Common Passion does a newsletter also.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to subscribe to those newsletters, the best way to do it for Mayan Cross is to go to the contact page of the website, and there's a little box that you click if you want to subscribe. And there's probably a similar function on the Common Passion site, commonpassion.org.
Any page you go to, there'll be an opportunity to sign up for the free announcement list.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. So now, if I understand correctly,
to answer this question about the remaining 9 days,
mm-hmm.
what does it feel like to you folks? I mean, for me, it feels like I'm going to continue in the process. I was, like Worth mentioned earlier, actually relieved to know that, okay, I don't have to have it all buttoned up by tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, based on what's been happening in my life, my feedback from the universe, and what I need to continue to work on to create what I intend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to have more time.
I'm very grateful because I'm just in the middle of cleaning out one of my storage rooms. And I know I wouldn't get it done by midnight. So what you're saying is that it's kind of like the window between tonight and March 6th. It's sort of like an extended New Year's Eve?
Yes, that's what we talked about yesterday, and we talked about it at the beginning of this call.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the beginning, the very beginning, or if I heard it, I didn't fully understand it.
Keep listening, and you'll get the gist of it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a person saying, can you please say all of the day signs? And what I'd like to do is point you to if you go to the Mayan cross, if you go to your Mayan cross and you click on the words that it says Mayan mantra off to the right-hand side, mm-hmm. You'll find pronunciation guidelines for the Mayan language. And all the words in Mayan are written phonetically. So you pronounce them pretty much the way they look, except for three things. So the guidelines are only three things to look at. And then what I'd like to do is a follow-up call, and it would be more of a kind of a training Q&A sort of format for us to address all of these kinds of concerns and questions about the Mayan sacred calendar. And hopefully that, will work for everybody. And I'll put out an announcement in terms of what day that we can do that. And, of course, we'll record it so we can have people listening in at another point in time, too. Oh, so there is a question. Are there only 9 days, not 13? No, there are 13 more days. This is the equivalent of a Mayan week. It's 13 days. It's like a fortnight. Excuse me. And so we've got these 5 that we're just completing, and then we're going to add on 13 more days. So today is one wind. The next time we have a 1 day, 13 days from now, it will be one bird or one eagle. And
Barbara, if you don't mind me adding that synchronistically or coincidentally, March 6th is also the beginning of a new series through Common Passion that Don Simon is hosting called Transform and Thrive. So it'll be a regular series that we're doing through Common Passion on Common Passion's talk show to continue.
Boy, is that a coincidence, Don?
Yeah. And we had no idea, of course, that these extra days would be added. And in fact, this Wayeb series, the call series came out of the 90-day program we did through Common Passions back in November, honoring the day sign. So if there's energy and interest, perhaps if that could be voiced to continue doing some sort of day sign call amongst the Transform and Thrive call dates. So the calendar days would be through Mayan Cross, but the Transform and Thrive is through Common Passion. All free events to attend, of course. So it'd be good to continue the energy. It's kind of like what I was feeling is, this is a daily process of release, forgiveness, being present to the energies. What a value to everyone to have that reminder in a powerful way.
That is so true, and it's really a nice way to kind of emphasize how the Maya do this. I mean, they have this special time, but also every day is sacred. Every day has an energy, and they work with that energy to keep them present to the intention for the day. So it's a continual process of making your life more sacred.
Beautiful.
I have just, there was a question yesterday, I think, maybe 2 days ago, about, Don was talking about the community gardens, and I had mentioned the concept of Maya permaculture concepts, and I just put the link on the chat to the Mayan permaculture organization. It's on Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, and I've attended the training, and it's really fascinating. It's also one of the it's a non-government organization, and it's one of the NGOs that Common Passion, through Common Passion, the donations for the film, for viewing the film Shift of the Ages, were going to some of the groups, organizations in the Maya lands, and this is one of the organizations that would be a recipient of that kind of money to keep their programs going. And right now they have a drive for funds so that they can do more seed collection, organic seed collection, organic seed sharing, and developing what's known as in the permaculture world as food sovereignty, so that they have a storehouse of organic seeds, so they don't have to worry about not having them someday in light of all the GMO type of activity that's going on around the planet. I also want to mention Catherine, who's been on our calls this week from the East Coast. She found a really lovely page on the internet that describes the year bearers. There is a page on the Mayan Cross website also, but if you're wondering more about how this works, and it's throughout Mesoamerica, they use the year bearer concept. We posted that on Facebook, the Mayan Cross Facebook page yesterday. So if you'd like to read more about that, that would be a nice way to kind of embellish your understanding of the Mayan cosmologies that are at play at this time.
Barbara, this is Worth. Flor de Mayo also has a project. I think it's called the Golden Seed. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah,
right. In New Mexico, preserving true seed. And I think it's...
She has a silo, I think.
Yeah. We've heard all these years from Archer Daniels, Midland, and then from Monsanto and all these places about what they're doing to feed a hungry world. If any of that had ever been true, nobody would be hungry anymore. And in fact, those strategies are based on the same thinking that was expressed, the GMO kind of stuff, in 1974 by the good Herr Dr. Kissinger, who said, control the food and you control the world. That's the dark side of who we have become. That it's really, really important for us to recognize and incorporate and transform by saying, no, we won't do it that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's one of the topics that's going to be covered with the Transform and Thrive series in terms of the importance of being close to your food sources, and I remember talking to one of the expats in Guatemala. He's been down there about 20 years, and he said, if there's any one way to understand how to be indigenous, quote unquote, it's to grow your own food, because that gets you as close to the earth and the elements as any activity we could find in modern life.
And teaching that to children makes so much difference, because it's so true and you can't unlearn something true.
Mm-hmm.
And food is a very political thing. It has to do with power.
Yeah.
Father Antoine Adrian, who was Haiti's Gandhi Martin Luther King for 40 years or more, told me once of a businessman visiting with him and saying, "Oh, now, Father Antoine, you're talking about politics, and I don't get involved in politics." And Antoine said, did you eat today? Then you are involved.
Yeah, it gets pretty close. And it helps you appreciate the elements, too. I mean, like no other.
Which is the light side of what Kissinger was saying.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just looking through some other chat questions. A number of these are Mayan calendar questions. So I'll have to, a lot of people, it appears, would like to have this call continue every day. But I need to give that a little bit more thought.
That's a lot on you.
It is, but it's also really important. If you have, you do have access if you're on the internet, to knowing what the energy is every day, and to light a candle for that Nawal every day, asking for guidance from that Nawal, as well as the containment of the space by the first 4 grandparents. And that can take just a matter of moments. And I always encourage people to do that, because that helps you find your expression, your connection with the Nawal. And, you can read about it ad nauseum, but it's more important to experience them and to feel them in your heart and feel them in your body. And just by that simple conscious act of awareness and prayer each morning, it really changes the way the day unfolds for us. Have people noticed the days being unfolding differently over the last 5 days since we've been doing this? And that's kind of the magic of the Mayan calendar. Carlos talked about Najt, N-A-J-T. Do you guys remember picking up on that word? N-A-J-T. I chatted in that translates in English to space-time. And for the Maya, they live in Najt. They live in that dimension. And, we Westerners, kind of laugh about, that's Mayan time, meaning they're not going to be using, clock time, mechanical clock time like we are. That's not their consciousness. Their consciousness is 4D, which is space-time combined. And it's only in the past couple of years that I've really been able to glean what that really means. But the way to do that is by working with this calendar system, because you've got the place, you've got the fire, you've got the day, all those things combine. And to me, it's like a little combination lock, that we used to hang on our lockers in class. You just turn the dial of the combination, and then click. And that's your portal, that's your entry into that space-time, that Najt, N-A-J-T. And if you do get a chance to pick up the book written by Carlos Barrios called The Book of Destiny, it's probably, I read a lot of them, and I believe that this is a seminal work in English. It was a seminal work when it was written in Spanish, and it was published in Spanish many years before it was published in English. But it really helps us tune into these days, these energies, the personal power that they can bring to a life.
Barbara?
Yes.
If you don't mind me saying, there's another way for a select few who can take a couple of weeks off. Grandmother Elizabeth Araujo and I are leading a group to the lands of the Maya in Guatemala on a sacred journey May 2nd through May 14th. And we'll be experiencing the energies daily, men and women elders, Wandering Wolf, Tatakamaha, Aunt Vilma, as well as Grandmother Elizabeth. We'll be going through the sacred temples in Copan, Honduras, Tikal in Guatemala, Lake Atitlan, doing ceremony, really kind of living that energy. And it's that where you really get the sense of that Maya out of time or in space-time in a different way than we are accustomed to living. Really get the sense of it, spending a couple of weeks immersed in that spiritual culture. So if anyone would like information, can contact me directly. We're just finishing the website, but joseph.giove, Giove, @commonpassion.org. Later in the year, it looks like October, we're going to do a 2-week journey down to Peru and Bolivia, many of the places that are seen in the Shift of the Ages film on our journeys. To have anyone that could take the time off and join us.
And I should add that this is how Joseph and I met in 2007. I went on the sacred journey. What is it, 10 days? 10 days, something like that. And
11, 12 days, yeah.
Yeah, it was a miracle. That's all I can say. I mean, it was the most heartfelt, mind-expanding, cultural appreciation. I mean, everything. And I had been in Guatemala before, but I hadn't done it this way. And this really helps you tap into who they are as a people. And I think Elizabeth said on her call with Common Passion a couple of weeks ago, you know, you really just have to live it. And that's one way to do it. Definitely. Highly recommended. Okay. Anything else? We can wrap up early one day.
Let me add one thing, Barbara, if you would.
Oh, sure.
I had been, for some years now, after hearing Don Alejandro in May of 2000, the first thing I did when I would log on in the morning is go to the Daily Tzolk'in at MayaMagics.com. And I was gradually learning things and reading things. And when I got the flip chart calendar on the Tzolk'in Count of Days by the Welches, where you actually physically change the number in the day Lord every day, I can't quite articulate the difference that it made, but it did. It rooted something behind intellect to actually do that physical flipping and reading. So I just offer that.
I think of the word attunement, and it happens at the DNA level. It is something that is embodied. It plugs you into a current that, well, I'd like to think of it as the current that pulsates throughout the cosmos. And it's just like when you visit a Mayan temple and you don't even have to walk across the top of one. You don't even have to climb to the top. But just by being in the energy of those sacred places, your DNA shifts also. You're forever changed, and your body does not forget it. You know, it's something that helps you remember a level of consciousness that's extreme level of consciousness. Essential for your growth. Essential for the evolution of everything. It's a miracle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any more announcements, Joseph, that you can think of?
Top of my head, March 6th with the Transform and Thrive. I don't know, Dawn, do you want to say anything about that? Are you still on with us?
I don't see you. They've gone, but there'll be announcements coming out about that.
Yeah, we'll be sending an announcement out. If you're on the Calm and Passion list, you'll be getting that.
Yeah. And by way of follow-up, I will, if you'd like to go to the Mayan Cross Facebook page, I'll be posting there. If you'd like the newsletter where I indicate the events and activities, you can subscribe to the newsletter there. You can also check the Mayan Cross events page. I update that as well. So there's several different ways to remain in communication, but I have thoroughly enjoyed our time together. It's been so special, and I too would like to continue the thread and wish you the best until we meet again, and hope that this wisdom that we've just been transferring from the Maya to you serves you in ways that you dream about. So Matiosh, everyone. If you have any questions, get me at mayancross@gmail. That's a direct way to get me. And blessings to you all. Matiosh.
Thank you, Barbara.
Mil gracias.
Thank you, and thank you, Joseph.
Okay. You're all miracles. Enjoy that notion.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.